Hello, my name is Mitch and I draw Blood Force, and we're continuing in the same week, multiple episodes about single issue comics. Why not? So before we get into it, let's just do the quick promo thing. So every video I start off by saying, hello, my name is Mitch and I draw Blood Force. You probably just heard it. And in case you weren't sure, this is Blood Force. Blood Force is a comic book I'm creating. It is a celebration / send-up of 90s extreme comics. And the first issue is complete. We're just kind of in limbo while I get the funds together for publication. And if you'd like to speed up that process, what you do, you go to the link in the description that will take you to my Patreon. Subscribe there, because I need your help in order to get this thing over the finish line. And warm fuzzies from helping a comic creator are not all you get by subscribing to my Patreon. You also get access to the entire Blood Force library, which is growing by the week, as well as all these videos and some exclusive content. So subscribe today, and soon we'll all get the Blood Force comics we've been waiting for. Thanks very much for listening. Now we'll get back to your regularly scheduled video about speed lines and shit. Okay, so we're on to Cyberforce number 3 now. And oh my god, it's Pitt! Oh my god! And yeah, this is during the time period where Image was, they were indulging in a fair amount of crossovers to see how that would go. I think for the most part, I think after a while they kind of decided, unless it's a choreographed kind of thing, they're probably not going to do it after this, because people get other people's characters wrong, and people take that a bit personally now, that they actually have investment in these characters. So, we got a decent cover here. This is kind of a classic setup for Silvestri. Would have seen this once or twice on X-Men. Again, that kind of triangular composition. So we got some Scott Williams inking on the cover here. Did he ink any of the issue itself? No, but Silvestri is finally getting some help at least. He's getting Dan Panosian and Trevor Scott to help out with the inking. That might be okay. Dan Panosian isn't great at this time. Trevor Scott, I'm not super familiar with. So everything else is pretty much the same. He's still getting Eric to help write it. Mike Heisler letters. We haven't really been talking about the lettering at all. It's been fine. I haven't noticed anything weird. So, of course, Velocity has just been captured by whatever this team is. We don't know a team name. And I don't want to say Slam, Wildfire, and Splitzkrieg every time. We have a Team Z in Supreme. Understudies. These are the understudies. I don't know what purpose they... I mean, I guess they serve a direct purpose in that they steal the thing that Timmy can eat to get the data, and then they kidnap the guys and bring them... And yeah, you know. Yeah, they're more of a story contrivance than anything. So they've just been stopped by Psychotron. I didn't know it was on a side street, but okay. And they're going to be fighting the Shocks, most likely. Yep, or at least a couple of them. And they're not even looking for Velocity, which I thought they were. They're here specifically for the discs that they stole, which Timmy just ate. Now, that takes some balls to draw that shot, eh? That big. I'm thinking this is like a Panosian or something, just the way the fingers are inked. Just because that looks so dashed off. Alright, so the Shocks are going to attack the understudies to try and get the discs back. And I mean, this is all just, like, you know, it looks great. The writing's shit. There's a lot of trying to establish characters or catchphrases. So they got this thing here with Slam being like, where's the backbeat? They got it all on top, nothing at the bottom. There now, feel that bass line? So they're trying to do, you know, producer thing. Okay, so he likes music. And then they go, now you're playing with power. It's like, oh, so no, that's a video game thing. So they don't know what they're doing. There's no direction. And this is all just fighting and trying at one-liners. Again, with kind of a drab color palette. A little bit. I mean, it actually feels like it's brightening up a little bit. I wonder if that has to do with the inking, though. Because this is a bit more open. Yeah. And then we cut back to Cyberforce HQ, where Ripclaw and Cyblade are training. I don't know who inked this, but it's not as good. It's certainly not as good as the Mark Silvestri stuff. Anyway, so back to the other fight. This seems kind of pointless, just except to report that Timmy and Velocity didn't make it home. I guess that's, yeah. Is that worth a whole page? I suppose. And then we cut back to the fight, and Killjoy's acting like she knew that Velocity and Timmy were here the whole time, and, you know, you can't escape. And they do actually capture them eventually. And then Wizard again with the cows. I guess the Far Side was popular around now. Maybe that's what they're doing. I don't even know. And then we're cutting to, it's a housing project for mutants. Yeah, the city's going to try and tear it down. And the mutants are protesting. And it's getting a little violent. And then one of them decides to take the reporter hostage. It's all getting very convoluted. And then, back at Cyberdata HQ, Mother May I is visiting, let's see, the captured Timmy and Velocity. And she's going to... Timmy won't give over the information that was on the discs, so she does her telepathic thing to try and convince him. Neat shot. Interesting effect with these, with the panels kind of coming in and out of the dark here. Okay, so here we are. The understudies are returning back to their base. They've lost the discs they were hired to steal. And they lost their kidnapped victims. And they're just, well, at least we're home. We made it home in one piece. And here we go with the laziest crossover I have ever even heard of. I didn't think this could be possible. Somebody's like, who's he? And Slam's like, oh, his name's Pitt. He had a rough night and needed a place to crash. And that's his reason for being there. Like, I'd like to give them the benefit of the doubt. And say, you know, and say, okay, maybe there was something I missed. I don't think there was, though. Like, I've seen image number 0 now. There's no extra footage, you know, no behind-the-scenes kind of shit that has a better explanation for why Pitt is here. So this is along the same lines as end of issue 2 when these guys stumble across Velocity and Timmy. Because they're just, you know... So there are ways of enabling the next part of the story that the Silvestris want to do. So then Cyberforce tracks the understudies' van. They even use an SR-71 for their Cyberforce jet too, eh? Or a variation on it. And so when they get there, it turns out they pissed off Pitt. Well, Heatwave did specifically. This is what happens with your Fireburn type of guys. They're just useless. They're the worst. And now Impact has to fight them. And so we get our typical miscommunication leads to fight, leads to reconciliation. They love that shit. I don't think I've ever seen it. Well, no, I've probably seen it done well once or twice, but like it's so, I'm so done with it. Even back here, I'm done with it. And so the van blowing up back there, that was because the Shocks rigged it because they figured something. Cyberforce would track it. Well, they did, so I guess they figured right. And more action, but in the heat of whatever, Killjoy decides to attack Pitt because he's interfering in the fight. Okay, yeah. So he's decided that you're obviously not one of the good guys. And we get like regular dialogue lettering for Pitt. And he speaks normally, which I don't think he usually does. So he just seems like a dude. You know, but he's not. Mark Silvestri might not have even known at that point what the shit he was supposed to be. And, there's some putties to fill up the panel with. That's essentially what they're there for, just so we have lots of guys for them to attack. And do horrifying shit to, without it, permanently affecting a character that might need to return. And everybody's after a kid named Timmy. You know what? I'm kind of glad that South Park did the Timmy thing now, and they've ruined that name for anybody to use as some kind of MacGuffin-y kid. We're done with Timmys. And then somebody here says, I hate to break this up. It's been a long day. I'd really appreciate it if everyone would just get the hell out of my house. I assume this is Wildfire because of the divots in the legs. I think she had that. But they don't make it clear. And I mean, her team was part of the fight. So why did they just go? Why did they just do it? That doesn't make any sense. It's stupid. But they leave. And this is right here is where you see that Eric Silvestri. Eric Stevenson isn't any good either. Eric Silvestri isn't up to snuff for like Marvel method because he fills all of this up with just filling you in on the plot. So what we find out here is that the team, the understudies that stole the discs from whatever that friggin' corporation was called, they were hired by Cyberdata. So that it would, and the reason they hired them was so that it would look like mutants stole the discs, so it would become obvious. And then Cyberdata steals the discs from those mutants so that they get the discs. Although, if you hired them, you probably could have just paid them to give you whatever. And then this just kind of, this is a big empty team shot that feels like it was drawn by somebody else. And we don't have enough dialogue to fill it in other than a little bit of musing by Rip Claw. And just, no one will admit it, but the scent of fear is unmistakable. It's like, that's not anything. You couldn't think of anything to put in there. Then we get more flashbacky stuff with Velocity's mother apparently going into a fire. Okay. And her and Timmy escape. There's like nothing here. I mean, Velocity overhears that they're looking to put in those the chips that control behavior out of, if we remember from Cyberforce number 0. And here we see that Mother May I has delusions of grandeur. I completely forgot Stryker was infiltrating her unit, and apparently he's on her team. And there's some sort of thing where, this is the hostage situation from earlier on. Have they been holding her hostage that long, or did we go back in time? Because we do have a lot of days and time, Tuesday, 2:48 p.m. So when the hell was this supposed to happen then? Are we supposed to be paying attention to that kind of shit? Tuesday, 12:05 p.m. is when he takes her hostage. And here we're at Tuesday, 5:48 p.m. So we've been going for like 5 hours here. And he's just kind of been holding her hostage. And then Stryker immediately shows up on the scene and knocks him out because he tri-punched him. Alright. And turns out where they're hiding out is Mother May I's base. Okay. And she, Willy Wonka Great Glass elevators them. Didn't have enough room for a lot of Scriber Force there, did you? Or maybe, just, I don't know, nobody thought to write in? Well, there's the ad for Wildcats number 0, so we're already thinking about that. In May. Okay. Well, I guess by this time, the Wildcats miniseries has ended, so that makes some sense. Because they got to set up that's the very early setup for the Killer Instinct crossover, which is going to be epic and legendary and stuff. But this will do it for this one for today. Join us next time as we wrap up the epic quadrilogy of Cyberforce with Cyberforce number 4. In the meantime, follow me on Twitter. Subscribe on Patreon. That's the big one. And I'll see you guys in a couple of days. Bye.